Hi FlossTube, it's Lori McClary, Texstylust. Welcome to my channel. Hey FlossTubies, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're here. If you're new, welcome, and I hope you'll stick around. This is a FlossTube about cross stitch and quilting and sometimes scrapping and sometimes a few other things. I haven't been on in quite a while. I've been very busy. Early July, I had a group of ladies come and hang out with me for a retreat for the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show, and they were here for what we call Quilt Week, which is the week prior to the show, where there are a lot of classes and there's quilting in the garden tours and many other events. So they're a group of ladies that I used to quilt with when I lived in Olympia. They belong to the Washington Stars Quilt Guild, and I used to as well, and they have been coming down since I think about 2015, minus the years for COVID. So it was really great to see some of the ladies I haven't seen in about 3 years. We had a wonderful time. We did a ton of quilting, or actually a ton of piecing. I think there were 3 quilts that came out of the retreat where people had finished them, and I will throw some pictures up here so you can kind of see a little bit of what we accomplished. And then we went to the quilt show, which is the second Saturday in July. We made the rounds. We went and saw everybody's quilt that had been entered in the show, and we also visited the Cherrywood exhibit, which is a wonderful exhibit. They usually have it here at the show, and this year's theme was Princess Diana. So I'll throw a few pictures up here as well, so you can kind of get an idea. If you've never seen a Cherrywood exhibit, go online and look it up. It is fantastic. Cherrywood is a hand dyer company who they hand dye these fabrics, and they make them, they look like suede. It's very beautiful, but they're cottons. So that was beginning in July, and then I had a short reprieve in between that and my next retreat, and this time I went out to visit a girlfriend in Kansas. There were about 10 of us, and her name is Marcy. She's on Instagram as mimithiesen, and we met up with a lot of our friends and stayed at Marcy's castle house. It's just gorgeous. I will throw a few pictures up here as well of the house, and then I will include some pictures at the end so you can see a little bit more. It was a fantastic week. Lisa and I flew out there together. We flew into Wichita, and then we had so much fun. The event was very well documented by Lisa Kindredstitcher, so I'm not going to repeat a lot of what she showed, but I will show some of the things that, some of the gifts that I got at the event, and I will, as I said, show some pictures at the end. And then also, I think I mentioned in my last video, right before my retreat, my long arm, which has been disassembled in storage since I moved here to Sisters, was reassembled and is up and running, and I'm super excited. And just in the last few days, I quilted the first quilt I've quilted in a very, very long time. I had did a quilt for Marlene Stitching by the Lake back in, I think it was 2019. Right before the pandemic. I mean, before that, I really had not quilted for quite a while on my machine. I was working very long hours. I managed a project management office for a state agency, and that takes up a lot of time. So for the 4 years prior to that, I really hadn't quilted. So it truly has been quite a while since I've quilted, but I had a grand time. I put together what's called a disappearing 9 patch out of a layer cake that I bought while Lisa and I were traveling on this last trip to Kansas, and I will show that in a little bit. But we're here to see some stitching, so I will show you what I've been working on. In the time between the 2 retreats, I did some work on roses for Ruby. This is a stitch by Scarlet House, and I'm stitching this in remembrance of my grandmother Ruby. And I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the month, which means I really need to get cracking. I started it last year on her birthday. Her birthday is in August. I was hoping to finish it this year by her birthday, so we'll see. I am stitching this on a 36 count Weeks Dye Works linen called Aspen. And here is where I'm at. It is such a pretty stitch. The colors are so bright and vibrant, and I did a conversion, my own conversion, using mostly Victoria Moto. I think I have a couple of color and cotton, and then a couple of the called for DMC, but it is beautiful. I think this is going to be gorgeous. I will change it up a little bit. I've been pondering as I've been stitching how I'm going to do that, and I would like to put her name on it. So I think what I'm going to do is remove the bottom of that pot, and then down here I will put Ruby Irene, that's her name. And then I think I've already mentioned I'm taking out the swans, the birds, and I'm going to put in a couple of little dogs because she always had a dog of some sort. So getting some work in on that, but I definitely have a ways to go. The border takes longer than you would think, and then of course that middle motif is probably going to take some time. But I'm very pleased with the progress so far. The stitch that I took with me to the Castle House stitch was Sarah Casey Unwin, and that's by Chessie and me. And Sarah Casey Unwin 1848. And I had the outline, the border outline already done, and some of the motifs on the border already stitched, but the rest I was actually able to stitch at the girls' get together. Let me back up. I'm not quite getting the right color here. The linen is a little bit darker than it's showing on the screen, but this is so beautiful. It is wonderful. I love this stitch. This is being stitched on a 36 count color and cotton Havana. I am definitely going to be getting some more of this linen. It is so beautiful. And here are the colors. I'm using, oops, I'm a little out of practice, ladies. I'm using the called for colors. I believe everything is called for, yes. And I'm definitely out of practice. I'm dropping things. So I will be stitching a lot more on this during Sampler September, and along with a few other samplers, but I'm loving how this is coming along. I cannot wait to have that on my wall. So I only have one more thing to show you that I've been stitching on, because my time has really kind of been bouncing back and forth between quilting and piecing and stitching, which is probably how it's going to be going forward, but I'm really enjoying that. This one was a surprise stitch. I wasn't planning on working on it, but I had decided I needed to go through all of my whips and kind of jot them all down, so I saw a list of what I had and kind of make a determination of what I'm going to stitch on next, because fall stitching is coming, and my schedule for everything is very full, so now I need to kind of step back and decide what has priority and what doesn't. So I started making the list. I was going through my whips. I've gotten maybe 25 or 30% through them, and when I got to this one, it's like, oh, I really want to stitch on this, and I want to stitch on it right now. So I haven't finished documenting all my whips. I sat down to stitch this. And what I'm stitching is Cherry Hollow Sampler by Stacy Nash. And I received this as a gift from Michelle Farm Girl way back in the day when I first met her. I think it was at our first or second retreat. I think it was the second retreat. She gifted this to me. And so the whole kit came with the 36 count weeks. Let's see, it's in here. I have to take it out. Hold on, hold please. 36 count weeks Die Works beige. And it's the old weeks, and it came with, of course, weeks floss. So this is all called for. And I'm not very far, but I'm working on the border. And it's not a really big stitch. It's going fairly quickly, and it's probably going to stay in the rotation at least until I get the border started. Although I am really, really wanting to get to that red house. So I might have to get to the red house and then pause and stitch on other things. Or I may just stitch on it until I'm done. I'm not sure. But those are the three things that I have been stitching. I have quite a bit of Stitchy gifts from the retreats to show you. And I also have some haul. I also have a new start that I'll be starting with Annie from Annie B's Folk Art. She reached out to me and we talked about it and decided, yes, we really wanted to start this, and I'll show that to you right now. She also announced it on her FlossTube, her latest one, and I will put the hashtag that we're using down below. Now, SAL for me means start along, not stitch along, because I have a lot of stuff going. But we're going to start Come Into My Garden by Teresakogut. I picked this up at the last Farm Girl retreat. I didn't buy it when it came out. I picked it up at the retreat because I saw it stitched, and it is just stunning. So I've been kitting it up, and right now I'm probably going to stitch it on. Let me see if I have it here. Oh, I don't have it here. This is a this is a legacy linen. It's a 37 count legacy linen. I can't remember the name. I will put the name of it down below, but I may change my mind in between now and the day that we start. So this is the linen I've chosen. I'll put this up here. And I really wanted to do it on Saltbush by Fox and Rabbit, but I didn't have any of the right count. I may just decide to dunk this in some dye and see if I can get something close, but I have been pulling colors. It's mostly the called for DMC that's on here, but I did change out the two reds and the main green to Victoria Motto because I'm trying to stitch from Statch. Let's see. I'm really out of practice here, but here are my colors. These are, let me set this down. The three reds that I'm using are Home Sweet, or the two reds are Home Sweet Home. And actually it's just one red and two greens, and the two greens are Colonial Garden and Autumn Green. And so I think that those are the three main colors, will be very beautiful on this linen. And that's pretty close to the right color. So I'm very excited. Once I started pulling the linen and the threads, it's like, oh, I want to start this right away. Now I have to wait. But it will give me a little time to make a decision of whether I'm going to over dye that linen or not. So those are just some very short-term plans. I have a ton of short-term plans, but that is the immediate one that I wanted to let everyone know. Please join Annie and I with the stitch if you'd like to. Again, the hashtag is down below, and I think we're starting on the 17th. I'm not sure. I will put that date down below as well of the day that we're starting. So would love to see everyone else start along with us, and it's going to be a beautiful stitch. Before I leave future plans, I have another one that kind of bleeds over into haul. So when we were in Kansas, we went to Heart's Desire, which is the local stitch shop for our friend Marcy. and it's, I believe, in Wichita. I think it's in Wichita. It's close to Wichita. And it was a great shop. It was a beautiful old building. There were a ton of samplers and stitches on the wall to give you a lot of inspiration. They were really great at using a bunch of different counts and putting it on different fabric than the called for. So there was a lot of eye candy and opportunity. And the one that really caught my eye was they had did Halloween Eve by Blackbird Designs on a darker fabric. So I bought I think, yeah, I have a 40 count, and it's granite Newcastle. So, and again, the lighting is a little bit too bright here today. That's closer to the color. But they had this on Newcastle, or the granite Newcastle. I think it calls for Confederate gray, so this is definitely darker, but it was fantastic looking. I'm not sure if I had a picture of it, if I still have the picture. If I do, I will put a picture of it in here, but that is definitely on my radar to get started. And initially I had looked at that pumpkin thinking I really didn't care for the patchwork pumpkin, and my thought was that I would pick an orange, pumpkin orange that I liked, a very variegated one, and I would just stitch the entire pumpkin in the variegated. However, after I saw the model, I think I will probably stitch it as is. I may change my mind during the process, but right now my thought is I will stitch it as is on this granite Newcastle, which Newcastle of course just means 40 count. So this is just a standard Zweigart dye color, so you can buy this anywhere, but it's really, really pretty. So that is a new start anticipated bleeding over into haul. While I was there at Heart's Desire, I also picked up a few Prairie Schoolers. They had a ton of Prairie Schoolers, stitch over one on 40 count. They were amazing, just amazing. They really inspired Michelle Rudy Farm Girl. I think she picked up some silk gauze and she's going to be stitching them over one, but they're gorgeous. One of them that they had stitched, all stitched in 40 count, was Home for Christmas, which is book 86 from Prairie Schooler. They had all of these, but they're so cute, and I don't want to take it out of the wrapper quite yet. I'm sorry for the glare, but I love their series where they do the holiday stuff. All three of those are just darling. I don't think I'm going to be doing them over 40 count, but I applaud everyone who does. The other one that they had stitched up and I did not have, and this is the original cardstock, and that is book 164, and it's October, and it was also just gorgeous. I love that. So that might get started. I'm not sure. I'll probably change out the pheasant and use one of the other motifs that they include. There's crows and pumpkins, there's just leaves, there's squirrels and owls, so any of those sound great. The other one that I was really excited to find, because I had not seen it anywhere, was Spring Hair by La-Di-Da. And that was on my list of things to stitch last spring, and so I was really glad that I found a copy of that. I don't know if it's out of print or if you can find it. I remember when I was looking for it, I had a hard time finding it, so I was pretty excited. So that was my haul from Heart's Desire. Oh, nope, I'm sorry, there's one more thing. So what I got, let's see, this will work, was this little pumpkin scissor fob, and it has a little thimble, a little scissors, a pumpkin, and the pumpkin has little curly cues. I love this. So on the way from the airport to Marcy's house, we stopped in Newton and to a quilt shop called Charlotte's. And I picked up just a couple things from there. A couple fat quarters. I think these are fat quarters. might be fat halves, of just some really, yes, they're fat halves, of some really gorgeous fabric. Let me open it up a little bit so you can see. Christmas fabric. They had a ton of Christmas fabric. And then while we were there, several of us ordered the shop hop. They have a shop hop coming in October. It's the Central Kansas shop hop, and the fabric for the shop hop is just adorable. It's a lot of like vintage Christmas ephemera, and so we pre-ordered it. Lisa and I think a couple other people pre-ordered it, so they'll be mailing it to us. It was a very charming shop. I really liked it a lot. So I belong to the Threads of History Club for Country Sampler, and we received, this is Lydia R. Cohagen. It's a Blackbird design, and I knew that this one was coming out, which is why I purchased, another hole please. Boy, I am really scattered today. So this chart and this quilt, again, sorry for the glare, they were meant to go together. So I knew that this chart was coming when I purchased this pattern. So this is a design by Country Sampler, the Deer Heart Tapestry, and it's using their latest line, which I believe is called Journey, but it's intended to go with this chart. So now I have both. So I guess that means I need to start one or the other of them. So funny, Lisa sent me a picture. She goes, look at what I just ordered. And it's like, hey, I just ordered it too. But this is a kit from Kathy Schmitz. I've purchased a lot of her designs over the years. It was a great kit. It was a great value. It comes with everything to make this wonderful little needle folder. It has the Valdani, it has the floss, it has all the fabric, it has the batting, it has everything. So it's the pattern to stitch and embroider this little needle book, and this looks like a really, really great project. So that came in the mail, and I think that is probably it for haul. And then I have I'm going to show you a little bit of the wonderful Stitchy gifts and things that we received at the retreat at Marcy's house. I did want to show this to you though. This was a kind gift that when we went to Heart's Desire, they had set up tables for us to stitch. We sat and stitched all day and had lunch and met with some local stitchers, which was really fun. I got to meet Pam Lacey in person. She has commented from day one on all of my videos and all of my Instagram. In fact, she made little gifts for all of us too. So she had brought these little orc containers, and this is the one that she gave to me. It's so cute. And then Heart's Desire gave us these little Stitchy pack. And it has the chart. This is a Lizzie Kate chart. Lizzie Kate, that's Lizzie Kate's home store. It has a little charm with it. It came with the floss, and look at that floss ring. Isn't that cute? It's got a pair of little scissors, and oh, one of the favorite parts for me, a nail file. And then it looks like we got a cherry lifesaver in there. I might take that out and have that. So that was from Heart's Desire. Again, it was wonderful visiting the store. The ladies were awesome. It's a really great frame shop too. The frame selection there was the best I have seen in quite a while. So you might consider them for framing. So that was from Heart's Desire and from Pam Lacey. And then I'm just going to pull out the big bundle of goodies that occurred when we were at the stitching house. So we did a lot of really fun things. These were sitting at, not all of this, but the big tray and some goodies were sitting at our places when we got there to start stitching. The first thing that was gifted to us, this was from Marcy, and I apologize, ladies. I am not going to remember who gave me what and all of this. But this was a gift from Marcy. It had this beautiful tag, and since we call it the Castle House, and you'll see why we call it the Castle House when I show some pictures, but we have a little crown and stitching, and I think that's one of, I don't know if that's from Marcy or if that's one of Kitten Stitcher's tags, but in here we have a set for a chatelaine. Isn't that gorgeous? So that was at everybody's place. It's beautiful. It has thimble. This is, we couldn't figure out really what this is. I think this is for pulling ribbons. And it has a seam ripper and an awl, but it's just, it's stunning. It was so pretty. Marcy was such a generous and excellent hostess. She fed us 24/7. It always felt like when we had finished one meal, it was just, you know, time to start another one, which, you know, if you're at a castle, that's really how it's supposed to be. One of the things we did, we all got our own little crown. And we had an evening where we, a couple evenings where we did a few different things. You may have seen it. I don't have him here with me, but we had some Billy Bob teeth and we sang and took a video of that. Here's a waxer. I think this was also from Marcy. The crown. She gave us, I have them loose here. I'm just going to pick up some of them. She gave us a little bag full of velvet acorns. And we also received, I don't remember who gifted this to us, but this beautiful, beautiful pair of scissors. Don't those look worthy of castle stitching? An Ort jar, of course, and in my hour of need, Jen gave me a hair pony because it was hot. There was another gift on another day. Yeah, this is what the acorns came in, and it also had these really cute wooden snowflakes and a wool. I'm getting some weird lighting here, so I'm going to kind of turn. I'm going to turn you around. My light, overhead light went out, and then the sun is in a different position. So let's see if we can fix that just a little bit. I think that's a little bit better. These strawberries were from another gift with a strawberry pin or a tomato pin, and another day in paradise. Give them hell. So we all had a little placard. We also received this lovely tin for stitchy things. And Denise, who is Marcy's cousin, came and stitched with us, and she brought us this little bundle of goodies. It's some vintage lace, and then there's these tiny little castle charms there, and stitching at the castle summer 2022. And then the fabric that she bundled it with is from Blackbird Designs. So these were just beautiful. I was particularly tickled because I love collecting antique lace. Here's some antique tatting. Here, let me put it across. Isn't that gorgeous? So we received that. Here's what the bowl looks like by itself. And then later that week, she gave us another trencher. This one right here, which is gorgeous. And we also received, oh, this was, I think this might have been from Shawna, Stitching and Doodah, a little pin cushion. And I've got more acorns here. And then in this, this was from another stitcher, and again, I don't remember who gave it, but beautiful strawberry. I think that might have been from Jen. And this. So just an amazing amount of kindness and Stitchy gifts. And I don't remember, I think I did show that. There's a, here it is. I did not show it. Here's a whip scissor bling. That was beautiful as well. But to top all of this off, we also, Raeniles, who is a new designer, Red Barn Designs, Red Barn, I'll have the right name here in a minute. But Ray sat next to me. I met Ray 2021, last year, yeah. So I've met her, actually I might have met her back in 2018. I've met Ray 2 or 3 times at different retreats, but she was here because she's local to Marcy in Kansas. And she just released, I think she has 3 new designs out. And she brought us, you won't believe what she brought us. Hold please. Ray brought us a whole sampler pack of one of her new releases. Now, what's in here is a exclusive release that is at the attic, but Ray had already arranged this with Marcy before the attic decided to make it their exclusive. So we have an exclusive and an exclusive, so it was so cool. But there is just an entire box full of amazing things. So this is what we received. And Ray gave us a presentation of how she came to start designing samplers. These are reproductions. And later that week, we got to spend a day with Ray, or a morning with Ray, looking at her entire collection of samplers that she will be reproducing. And all I can say is it is amazing, and I can't wait. And I'm sure you will be very excited too when you start seeing what is coming out. What she's already produced is beautiful. What we received is, as I said, it's an exclusive at the attic right now, and it is W. Wallace, 1878. Ray has a brand new FlossTube. I will put the name down below. You would definitely need to go check her out. She also tells the story of how she started designing. W. Wallace, which is Wilhelmina Wallace, she has the story of Wilhelmina in the book, and we saw the original sampler, and she gave us this. She gave us a beautiful little journal with a sticker of her new business, Red Barn Samplers. We got a couple sets of floss cards from Ray, and a business card. So I'm going to hold this up right here so you can see the entire. So it's Red Barn Samplers, Raeniles, and that is her information, her website, and I believe, yeah, her website is on there. So her FlossTube, I believe, is Red Barn Samplers, but like I said, I'll put it down below. She kitted it up for us, and it is kitted with XU Designs. It's kitted with 40 count Newcastle, and I need to put my glasses on because I can't see. It doesn't, oh, Rustic Driftwood is the name of, again, trying to get you the right color here. There we go. That's the right place. So Rustic Driftwood, and then she kitted it in a silk that I have not used yet, and it is called Gumnut Yarns. I think they're out of Australia. I could be wrong. But it's fully kitted, so there are the silks. Since it was near near Independence, we have a red, white, and blue, and we had a beautiful spindle here. And in the kit, there was also these really great wool, and then she also gave us this cute little salt cellar and to put one of the wool balls in for a pincushion. And what else do we have in here? We have, oh, all the bling. So this is a floss ring sampling of memories created for her, and that has the sampler on it. And also, I'm kind of unwrapping things again. Also a scissor fob and a needle minder slash can be worn as a pendant because it has both. And then Ray also had some corner gauges made. I love corner gauges. I have a whole collection. So Red Barn samplers, corner gauge. So that was all of the amazing goodness in this box. And it was such a surprise. It was so amazing. And we're going to see some fabulous things from Ray coming out. I think she said she's going to have some come out. Galleria? No. I don't remember exactly, but not soon enough for me. So that was the Stitchy kindness that I received, and that kind of wraps it up for the cross stitching. I have a lot to show you for quilting, so stay tuned. So for quilting, I've shown this quilt behind me here a couple of different times since I started doing FlossTube. This is a quilt that I started with my daughter when she was in high school. She was probably about 15 maybe. I had tried many times to get her interested in quilting, and she really wasn't that interested. But she had seen this fabric, and these are the 30s reproduction fabrics, and this is, I think, from Aunt Grace, and this is when they first came out, so it's been quite a while. And she picked out a bunch of them, and she picked out this pattern, and this pattern is by Miss Rosie's Quilt Company. Her name is Carrie Nelson, and Miss Rosie was her, I believe, her dog. It was Golden Retriever. And the name of this pattern is called SFNK, which stood for Single Female No Kids. And my daughter, even at a young age, had decided she was never getting married and she was never having children. Well, fast forward to, I think she was 20 when she and her husband got married, and they very shortly thereafter had my beautiful granddaughter, Ryer. So this quilt has sat and languished for many, many years, and I finally finished it at the quilting retreat that I had in early July, and finished putting it together, and it's getting ready to go on the quilting frame. I have renamed this quilt Never Say Never because it finally got finished, and of course she did have a husband and a child. So I'm going to tilt it. It's on my display wall, which is not big enough to show the whole quilt. The quilt is actually quite large. I'm going to tilt this a little bit so you can get an idea of the quilt. And I think I have a picture in here. I will probably be showing this again after it's quilted. But I was so happy to get this done. There is something like just shy of 1,000 half square triangles. I don't remember how many squares. It's a heavily pieced quilt, and just super excited in how it turned out. And I don't think there's a single point in there that got cut off. I was very meticulous on this one, which was a little challenging since I started it at a time when I wasn't as good a piecer as I hope that I have become, or that I've strove to become. So very happy how it's turned out, and I hope to get it on the frame here shortly. I've ordered some batting for it. I'm ordering some very thin batting since she lives in Tucson, and we want this to be a super lightweight quilt. So super excited. It's finished, not quite fully finished, but very close. Very happy with how this turned out. I also have a 99% fully finished project, another quilt. I had went with Lisa to Sisters Quilt Shop, which is in the Centralia Chehalis area, just south of where she lives. And it's a great quilt shop. They have a ton of fabric. It's was one of my favorite in the area. And they had a brand new line in the store called Practical Magic. It's an Edita sitar of laundry basket quilts. It's one of her lines. Now, she is known for mixing plaids and prints and dots and batiks, etc. in her line. And this one is a very fall-inspired, fall-colored fabric. And I wanted something really quick to piece together quickly and then also to quilt so that I could practice a little bit and get reacquainted with my long arm that has been in storage for quite a while before I started quilting on something like this. So I was very, very happy at how this went together. It's pretty heavy. I guess I can try. Let me try hanging it up a little bit on the board. So I've got it up there on the design board. So this is a really quick pattern called Disappearing 9 Patch. You can look on YouTube. You can find a ton of videos on how to do it. It's super simple. Basically, you create a 9 patch of whatever size of block that you have. I left them at the 10-inch squares because I really liked all of the fabrics and I wanted to show the big blocks of color. So you piece 9 together and then you slice it down the middle this way, and then you turn the blocks and you rearrange them. So I got 2 coordinating fabrics, this rust color here and this teal, a dark teal color here, solids that were matching of the line, and I made those the center blocks, so that kept it kind of congruent. And here is the quilt. This fabric right here is the main quilt focus fabric. It also came in black. I would have probably went with the black, but they didn't have it in the yardage, and I went with this, and I love both of them. I really like this. And then I'm going to turn this a little bit. I've flipped back so you can see the backing. I did a pieced backing. I'm going to turn it here. So I only had a little bit of the focus fabric left, but in my stash, I had a matching batik that goes really well with the line, and I also had a large piece of this fabric, so that is the backing. And then I just quilted it with an all-over fall themed, oops, sorry about that, fall themed motif. There is some swirlies, there's some leaves, etc. But I'm super pleased at how this turned out. It helped me remember a lot of functions on my machine, and only took me, well, if I put all the time together, it took me a day to quilt. So it's fairly large. It's somewhere between a twin and a queen size. And this is just a lap quilt for me. This is just a fall time warm lap quilt that I will use on the couch. So very happy. All I need to do is bind it. I'm going to take all the scraps from doing the backing, etc., and some of the pieces, and I will be piecing those together and making a scrappy binding as well. So that is what I have for my quilting. That is what I have for FlossTube, but I have one more thing to do, and that is to give away the strawberry bunny pattern from the last video, so stay tuned. I'm back, it was a little blip for you, but it was a couple hours for me. We actually had a power outage right at the end of the last segment. So took the opportunity to go into town and visit what we call the barn. It's a little place in Sisters where they built a facility for food trucks, and then the barn itself is like a tap room. And I went in and had some street tacos. They were fabulous, and came back, the power came back on. So now I'm here to do the giveaway. This giveaway was from not last video, but the video before. I didn't announce the winner last video, giving people a little bit more time, but it's sponsored by Lorianne Corliss, and her business is called The Spotted Hare. She is online, and I'll put her information down below. And the pattern that we were giving away was the Bunny and Berry. This is the last one that Lori offered up, so I'm really excited to give this away to Julie Fox. Julie, I commented on your comment, so if you will go ahead and send me your email information, I will forward that on to Lorianne so that she can forward you your pattern. So congratulations. I know you're going to love it. These are so fun to make. So that will wrap up today's video. I hope to be back in a couple weeks and not let such time lapse as I have the last time. It was very busy between the retreats and getting ready for retreats and traveling and such. So I don't have another retreat until late October. So hopefully we'll get on a little bit more regular schedule. You can expect to see some more quilting, and as I keep getting acquainted with my machine again, and hopefully a lot more cross stitching. In fact, this afternoon, that's what I plan on doing. So I will take some time to edit and get this video uploaded, and I'll see you all again in a couple weeks. And stay tuned to see some more pictures of Marcy's fabulous castle house. See you then. Bye-bye.